Hello everybody and welcome back to our Challenger Cup broadcast. It's been a really great year of Challenger Cup. We had spring with Baron de Fleur. We had summer with Emperor Charles the Great. How did I forget that one? I know. The
Your
infamous
favorite,
player letting himself go here. Autumn with Unchained Soul, Lord of Yama.
Oh, yeah.
And now, actually, we have a show match for you, deciding which monster will be featuring on the Winter Edition. Now, usually, you know, we would present a couple of options via poll, like for summer, where you guys did vote for it. And actually, that was the case again this time around, however, with a special flair. We had two very prolific content creators run a poll on each of their channels, Joshua Schmidt for Europe and RJ for Asia. Now, both of those players, of course, very prolific, very high level, as well as being content creators, did participate as members of separate teams at the World Championship earlier this year. Josh, team captain of Snipehunters, and RJ, a member of CER2xFCG.
Indeed.
Now, when those two did clash to open up the World Championship, it was CER2xFCG that walked away triumphant. But we shall see which one of them comes out ahead in another show match we're having today. My name is Ibris. I'm joined by Lampy. How you doing, Lampy?
I'm doing great, and it's going to be deciding now. And do we already give it away, what the two options are, what the two teams are fighting for?
I think we do, just so the people know what they've been voting for and how it's been paying off.
For the Josh team, it's no big surprise, right? It's Hugin, the runic monster that is going to be up for stake, the monster that they're fighting for as the cover monster for the next season of Challenger Cups. And then for CER2xFCG, what is it?
So CER2xFCG will be running with Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon, of course, really prolific branded players across that entire team, and just really eager to see which team comes out ahead here.
Yeah, and I mean, let's see whether they're going to use those cards. We're going to find out now as we go into the first match between Josh and FCG RJ, and the coin toss is happening, and we're going here with the POV from Josh, and we see that Josh lost the coin toss, but got sent first. So I think we have the first big giveaway even before the first card was drawn here.
Could he be playing Tenpai?
Looks like it.
Josh, on the other hand, actually going to start things off with a pretty standard Snake Eye opening hand. Been a while since I've seen the different variants of Snake Eye. Of course, Fire King Snake Eye being the deck of the format going into the World Championship that we mentioned before.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be curious to see if that is the same here. But Ash Blossom coming down on the 1-for-1 after the Flamberge has been discarded is a little bit unfortunate. Not quite as unfortunate as RJ is maybe feeling now that he encounters Crossout Designator, though.
Oh, and we got a peek there at the deck from Josh while he was picking out the Ash Blossom to negate with Crossout Designator, and I think I spotted some Melodious cards in there. So this is not just pure Snake Eye, but Melodious Snake Eye
Melodious
instead.
Very interesting, actually, because that just got a lot of reinforcement thanks to Gias of the Light.
Indeed, that deck is everywhere now, and it's also now the deck of choice for Josh here in this 3v3 match, leading, of course, as always, as the team captain, and the usual Snake Eye stuff now. Snake Eye Ash, adding Snake Eye Poplar, and so far, so good here.
Yeah, and Poplar now something itself. And do remember that we do have a Flamberge already in the graveyard as well. So the Snake Eye pieces all seem to be lining up okay. Now deciding between the original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye and the Divine Temple of the Snake Eye as the two options here to extend the combo from Josh.
Yeah, I think the good thing about the Temple nowadays is we have the Snake Eye Diabellstar released in Master Duel, and therefore the Temple now also is an extender. So we can put the Snake Eye Diabellstar into the Bound Trap Zone and then use it to create another monster on the field. In that case, though, we have decided to just go for the original route of searching original Sinful Spoils.
Yeah, original Sinful Spoils, Snake Eye, of course, giving you access to another level 1 fire from the deck. Will be really interesting to see where this goes from here. And also of note is the fact that RJ did commit the Ash Blossom earlier, so these combo pieces should go off without a hitch.
Yeah, you said it's interesting to see where this goes, and I'm absolutely with you, because normally we're already seeing all of the level 1 fire monsters that are usually being played in those pure Snake Eye variants. There's Oak already, there's Poplar, and there's Snake Eye Ash. And in Fire King variants, you would go over to Ponix, but what are we looking for here?
Where is the Melodious?
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have any access to it when you don't draw it.
And also, you know, having disruption like Ash Blossom and Joy Spring and Infinite Impermanence is great, but when you consider that those two being in the opening hand did take away some of the other options.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a tricky position for Josh to be in at this point. You know, he's also on... Okay.
He's on nothing. That was what you wanted to say there, right? Because there's no monsters left of that Nibiru, the Primal, being there from FCG RJ, just knocking everything down. But Josh continues to just normal summon out Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring here. Oh. That was not the option he was looking for. Looking into the extra deck, just seeing that IP Masquerena, but not that what he wants.
Yeah.
I think he probably wanted to go into Hita there, because there is the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring waiting in the graveyard of FCG RJ as well. Oh, and there's the level 1 monster we were wondering about. We are playing Jet Synchron. That's very cool. Oh, Josh trying to figure out, and it's still going to end up being the IP Masquerena.
So the Primal Being token is really difficult to deal with because it's a non-effect monster, when a majority of Link monsters do need effect monsters. Typically, you'll see some decks run Link Spider as a result, where they can then climb into further Link monsters.
Absolutely.
But when you're running such a tight extra deck, it does make it a little bit more perilous to have to commit to that. Now, though, Josh has managed to unlock his extra deck and will climb into, I think, the Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames is what was selected there. And yes, it is. Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames.
There she is in so many different fire decks. A lot of people have called this year the Year of Fire because the Snake Eye decks are very, very, very prominent. And now also the choice of the Joshua Schmidt here for this match. The thing, though, is, as we can see, there is 0 cards left in hand for Josh, and FCG RJ only had to give up 2 cards in their hand for that.
Yeah, you say only giving up 2. When you consider that RJ willingly went second, you have to consider that this is very, very likely to be Tenpai Dragon.
Exactly.
And you spoke to me earlier about how Tenpai Dragon only needs 1 card. If they have 2, it's a luxury. They can then just go off. So unless Josh sets up a meaningful amount of disruption here, it's going to be really difficult. There is 1 destruction through the Promethean Princess Bestower of Flame, stopping a special summon in the graveyard, but where do we go from here? Josh still delving into this extra deck. The Zealantis is there to banish the field, bring things back, but where does this leave him?
Yeah, and I mean, the crucial thing about the Promethean Princess, this is a fantastic interruption on the opponent's turn. But if RJ gets access to the field spell, to the Sangan summoning, that doesn't really matter that much anymore, because we can just special summon in the main phase, go around the effect of the Promethean Princess, because that just can't interact with us anymore. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Okay, we do go for the Zealantis effect now. That is kind of just reorganizing the field here in that case, though, because there's no major value being generated except the monster being set face down, and you can judge yourself how much... No, we could have used the princess there, but we decided against it.
So what I think it is keeping the princess in the graveyard to then stop another special summon, but also making sure that that Nibiru is face down so that, you know, you have no fear of it immediately being...
Oh, that is perfect for RJ, though, because now there is no face-up cards. If you would have just left the Nibiru there face-up, that Lightning Storm could have not been activated. To be fair, that Lightning Storm, you're kind of just working as a fissure, or because it's just destroying 1 monster. Still, that card would have not been able to be activated, so... I don't know whether Josh really saw that coming, to be honest.
So what was the rationale behind putting the Nibiru face down? Because initially I thought, okay, this means that it can't be linked off into something immediately, but surely you could just flip it face up.
Exactly, that's the thing. So I'm really wondering what would be the logic behind that, because there is no real, like, from the top of my head, I couldn't find anything. I mean, Josh, as a world champion, definitely had some reasoning for that. Oh, we are activating Sangan Kaiman in the main phase, which is not the usual scenario. You usually want to go with something else first, go with a Pydra first, go with a Chandra first, and then go Sangan Kaiman in the battle phase. So that's an indicator that they have nothing else besides that.
Probably we grab the Pydra here, and of course Josh no cards in hand means there's no Ash Blossom and Joy Spring to be wary of.
Yep.
Crossout Designator, of course, helping reinforce that as well. If this does resolve, and if it is allowed to get the Tenpai Dragon Pydra, that will then search for the Sangan Summoning, and then it's just Tenpai Dragon from there on out for RJ.
It definitely seems like that. Okay, we do go for Genroku, and Genroku can now just be special summoned here, so maybe that's an indicator we have a normal summon in our hand already. Let's see, Genroku summons itself out, and now are we just immediately going to use the effect? So the problem with this one, though, is this somewhat plays into the Promethean Princess, to be honest, because we could have just normal summoned the Pydra.
Continually baiting out the princess effect, you have to imagine, just looking at the way that this is playing out.
Now there's a Pyder, so this would be a welcome target for the Promethean Princess. And I'm really wondering, because we could have just searched out the Pydra, normal summoned out the Pydra, and on a normal summon you cannot use the effect of the Promethean Princess, and therefore we could have then gotten the Sengen Summoning, search out Chandra, and then we could have just, because that Sengen Summoning is on the field, play around the Promethean Princess by that. Now this honestly seems like a valuable window to use the Promethean Princess instead, though. Yes.
However, I also do have to consider the fact that now with a almost fully set up graveyard, if the if this is allowed to continue, and if the Promethean Princess does come through to further destroy stuff, Tenpai Dragon Phaedra becomes a very valuable and considerable option here.
Phaedra
for RJ.
definitely would be a very, very good normal summon, but Phaedra usually in the most cases is just a one-off. So like all of the other options are just way more likely, and therefore I think relying on the fact that there is a Phaedra in hand is probably like, it's very unlikely to happen. So I like the decision of Josh here to just immediately go after this Pydra. And I'm not 100% sure whether RJ really considered this Princess there, because that is going to be taking care of the Pydra. And like the usual procedure is, we said it, we want Sengen Summoning, and then Sengen Summoning is going to give us the Chandra, and Chandra can only special summon itself out from the hand when there already is a Fire Dragon on the field, which is now not the case anymore, so we may not be able to get multiple Tenpai Dragons in the main phase, but the thing, of course, is we still will have the option to normal summon. We get the Sengen Summoning now.
Summoning, yep.
And, I mean, you were saying, hey, there could be Phaedra in the hand. There doesn't even need to be Phaedra in the hand, because we have Sengen Summoning now, so we can just grab ourselves a copy of Phaedra.
And that is a Sengen Summoning that will go off without any fear of disruption, you have to imagine as well. So this now becomes a really, really perilous situation for Josh.
Yeah, because he is out of interruptions. There's nothing else he can do. He's just accumulating resources now for the follow-up turn. But the question is going to be whether he's even going to get that, because that's why Tenpai is so good. It's a deck that with ease just puts up 8,000 points of damage in one turn.
And if the Tenpai deck is allowed to get to the point where they're synchro summoning, it means that the game has already passed a point where, you know, where it's really scary.
Point of no return, basically. Yeah.
Genuinely, yes. Because Trident Dragion really hurts. Sangenpai Transcendent Dragion as well, really, really, really painful. So many good options here for RJ, and he's only had to play one Tenpai card now onto the field with the Sangen Summoning.
Yep, you're right. All of that was already baited out by that, and you were already anticipating it. It is the Phaedra. We can discard whatever. We can actually afford to just discard a Magnum with such a powerful card, but he didn't even need it here. Now there is, oh, the last card in hand even is Chandra, so we don't have to search for Chandra. This is a perfect setup for FCG RJ, and as a top-class player that he is, I would imagine he could be able to just close this out. One thing to consider, though, sometimes the Tenpai Dragon strategy struggles to put up enough damage through a big attack monster. So there is the Raging Phoenix currently with 5,800 attack points, so that could be something worth considering. But first of all, we're going to attack here.
As you mentioned, and as we discussed before, the fact that the Transcendent Dragion and the Trident Dragion both can attack multiple times, it's still less than 5,800 attack, even if it is hitting multiple times.
Yeah, you do have to make sure that you're destroying the Sengen Summoning with one of the effects that you have available. For example, Trident Dragion on its summon, destroying Sengen Summoning would make sure that you can double the attack of Trident Dragion, and that would actually be 200 more than that Raging Phoenix. So now looking at this, I don't think RJ is going to have too many problems getting through this. There's the Biden Dragion, Royal Rare as well. Going to be bringing back another copy of Pydra.
And if you get to... Okay, that's 3, 3, and 3.
Yep.
Plus the 7 of the existing synchro. There are many options here for further synchro summoning.
Is there that many, though? Because you have to consider, currently, the only tuner on the side of FCG RJ actually is going to be the Biden Dragion, because neither Phaedra nor Pydra are tuner monsters, and therefore, I'm not even sure whether RJ has really calculated this through well enough, because there is right now only one synchro summon available to him. And there's the Pydra going into that synchro summon. On the other hand, then, though, Biden is going to go into the graveyard. We have declared more than 3 attacks, so Biden will easily be able to come back. And there we have our tuner again on the field. But first of all, Trident Dragon. And I mean, this Trident Dragon alone can now destroy 1, 2, even more than that? No, we go for 2. So we do get 3 attacks in total. Let me tell you something. 2 direct attacks by this thing alone are going to end this game, no matter what. No matter what. First over the Raging Phoenix, now the first direct attack, and now for the game, FCG RJ leading things here for his team. So looking good, and I think the overlay here also is saying how the other 2 matches went, right? I see a lot of blue over there, and with the overlay, that means CER2xFCG. Are they up 3-0 here? It does look like it, right?
I believe so from what we saw there.
Yeah.
But,
I think I saw the stars on the bottom of the screen. Yeah, it said 3-0. That's crazy. Yeah. So that's a tough situation to be in right from the beginning here for Snipehunters.
Really, really well played by CER2xFCG. RJ, of course, taking down Josh there. Again, this was a really hard-fought match when they faced off against each other at WCS. So seeing this game again just be so competitive there. So
absolutely.
Josh was very much in control on that first turn. You know, he handled the disruption well. When the crossout designator came out, we thought, okay, that's really good because now the Snake Eye can play uninterrupted. But it got to the point where he burnt so many resources establishing what was ultimately not that threatening a field that the Tempai Dragon strategy from RJ could just proceed without caution.
Yeah, mainly because of the Nibiru. And honestly, even if there would have been more, just the sole fact of Sangan summoning being so powerful, even if Josh had more, I think we could have still played through it because that card just lets you play through everything. Then in the main phase, you can just possibly even go for things like Black Rose Dragon. And that's why the Tempai Dragon strategy is so strong at the moment. And therefore, that team right now leading 3-0, making it very, very likely, but not certain, that we're going to see Mirror Jade coming out as the new cover monster for our next season of Challenger Cups. But we're going to find out how things develop here. Moving on to the second match here now.
CER2xFCG versus Snipehunters round 2. We're here with CER2xFCG taking a convincing 3-0 lead in this series. The Mirror Jade, the Iceblade Dragon, is looking good, like it will be the cover of the Winter Challenger Cup. Will Snipehunters bounce back? It's on Emre now in this game against Tiras.
Oh yeah, and we see Emre starting off with his beloved Chimera strategy. Cornfield Codal is going to be discarded here first of all. And we see that apparently the Korean team really, really relying on the Tempai Dragon strategy, huh? Because not only FCG RJ, but also now Tiras picking that deck for themselves.
Yep, and there is the Mirror Sword Knight.
Yeah, that is Mirror Swords Knight. We see that Tiras has multiple ways of interrupting here. And I feel like immediately going for the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring on this is going to be nice.
So, I like DD Crow, but I feel like Tempai is the only deck where you have the luxury of making space for something that is just a singular piece of spot removal.
Oh, speaking of spot removal in the graveyard, though, Emre has called by the grave for the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. But yeah, I definitely see your point. The cards that Tempai brings to the table, there are so few.
It's a tight package. Efficient. It's really, really, really and small package,
so and
it's
space.
Just so much value there. But speaking of value, Emre getting a lot of value out of that Called by the Grave. The Illusion combo beginning, the Chimera combo beginning.
Yeah.
And here is the Chimera Fusion now in the hand as well.
Yeah, big wing Baphomet being able to not only search that, but also the Gazelle. And now all the triple tactics talents. What a combination.
2 free cards. You have to consider this as 2 free cards.
I think we're looking at the hand instead.
For Emre.
I think we're looking at the hand. I'm pretty sure we're just checking out because we already have our engine set up, so we will have a look at this. And I think that DD Crow might just be taken out of the hand there.
Aw. I like DD Crow. Goodbye, DD Crow.
Yeah, because there is enough engine already. So Droplet could also be a consideration. The thing is with DD Crow, it actually works really, really well against the Chimera deck specifically. Because you could, for example, just go DD Crow on the Chimera Fusion in the graveyard. Or also on some of the Chimera monsters. So it definitely is a concern for Emre here, I'm pretty sure. But we see he's taking his time here. Probably also talking to his teammates, as that's the luxury of a 3v3. Like simultaneously talking about every game. And the DD Crow is going to be the card getting sent back into the deck here.
Yeah.
And the Chimera Fusion right after. And I mean, what's better than knowing your opponent's hand, knowing that there's nothing more to be afraid of, having the luxury of having perfect information here right now so Emre can just continue to do whatever he likes.
The heavy commitment into a formidable field of monsters, though, does mean that this Forbidden Droplet does have a lot of value from Tiras, even if he's running a little bit low on the cards to discard for it.
If he does get to keep it in the hand, though, because Emre has just summoned out the Chimera to the field that will now activate. In the end phase, discard one random card out of Tira's hand. So there's a chance that we just get that Forbidden Droplet out of his hand there.
That being said, the two dragons, the two Tenpai dragons here in hand, you only need one to start the Tenpai dragon combo. You only need one piece to get it going. But Emre now with that formidable field being built here, you have the Mirror Sword Knight coming back, you have the Chimera Fusion coming back, everything just going here. And
a branded fusion
even further reinforcing Emre's strategy here.
Look at that. We're reading over it here as Tiras cannot believe that one of Branded Fusion also found its way into Emre's hand. Emre's starting
I think he's impressed by the royal finish as well, to be fair.
For sure, understandable. I mean, we had Called by the Grave, triple tactic talents, and now the Branded Fusion as well. Additionally to that, a way to start our Chimera engine. This hand is bonkers. Rindbrum now coming out. Okay, setting a spell and trap card. Most likely the Chimera Fusion and taking away the Pydra in the end phase. So let's see. Can Tiras possibly play through this? Oh, that's not the card you want to draw for turn. The
Psy-Frame driver is, yeah, that is essentially just not a piece that Tiras can play with towards building anything else here. Yes, you can potentially use it as a discard for the droplet, but where do you go from there? You have a singular dragon in hand. You have so much to face down here on the field, and Snipehunters, their comeback was questioned. Their potential to make a comeback in this series and have Hugin, the Runic Wings, be the face of the Challenger Cup winter season was in doubt, but Emre doing all he can to keep them in this series.
They need the momentum right now, and it looks like Emre might be able to put up that momentum. And we see Tiras doesn't have a whole lot of options. It's just going to be the normal summon of Genroku here. Emre knows about that card. He also knows about Droplet in hand, and the driver is not going to do too much damage to him anyway. So we're going into the battle phase, or at least we're trying. That's clever of Tiras, because we're trying to play around the Chimera Fusion, as that can only be activated in the main phase.
Keep in mind as well, because of the lingering effect of the Called by the Grave, any Ash Blossom disruption on Tiras here would not help, and therefore he may have a path towards something else from his deck. But there's another Chimera Fusion. There's so much more coming down from Emre, and Tiras back against the wall here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the very same Chimera Fusion that we just added back to our hands. So Tiras now actively trying to play into that Chimera Fusion by announcing the battle phase, and Emre being forced to use it now at the end of main phase. And it's going to be interesting. We could technically summon out maybe a Guardian Chimera, as that could deal with one monster on the field ultimately, even if they chain the... Oh yeah, looks like we're using free materials. If they chain the Genroku, still something is going to be destroyed, because this card does not target. Guardian Chimera is the card of choice here for Emre. But there is the Forbidden Droplet still waiting, technically.
So also of note, by the way, Emre playing everything in defense position here to play around the Lightning Storm.
Yep.
Presence of mind to do that. You know, we saw how impactful the Storm was in the previous game as well. Well, I say impactful, it got a Snake Eyes Slamber's dragon off of the field. But still, very, very scary regardless. But now knows that it's for sure not in the hand of Tiras, because Tiras just sent his last card, that driver, with the Forbidden Droplet, and will do all he can to keep himself in this game.
Yeah, but still, the resources that Emre is generating here are massive, because not only the Guardian Chimera was activated, but also the fusion materials used for it to give us not only the Mirror Swords Knight on the field, but also the Nightmare Apprentice in the hand. So Tiras has to do what the Tenpai deck does best. He has to end it this turn. But there is a whole lot of monsters to overcome here.
I mean, we said Tenpai Dragon can just make everything happen off of a single card. This will be very telling, because it is just a single card here. It is just that one Tenpai Dragon Genroku here for Tiras, and it is Emre commandingly in control of this game.
It is indeed. But shall I tell you something? That Rindbram wasn't summoned there for no reason. We now fused it away, and that Rindbram has a very, very cool graveyard effect in it being able to just summon out Fallen of Albus onto the field on your opponent's turn, but we probably don't even need that. Now, in response to the Genroku, we're using the quick effect of Mirror Sword Slide to negate it, so Tira sitting there, forced to click the end phase button, as there is no more cards even in his hand or on the field. Emre in total control here now.
Yeah, Emre here from turn 1 was able to set up, even though the Tenpai Dragon getting to go second was very favorable for Tiras. It was not enough to stop Emre with that Chimera branded deck. Now we have a full field here. Now we could even see more being summoned to the side of the field for Emre, but we will see attack after attack connect. You have to imagine here, Emre about to close this one out. That's more than 8,000 on the field right now.
It is Emre bringing Snipehunters back onto the map here in this 3v3, and we see more results, and it seems like we still have a third set of matches to watch as Snipehunters strike back with a 2-1 victory in this round, making the total score overall now 4-2.
Yes, indeed. We saw Emre take down Tiras there. We saw Quantal take down RJ, but it is Josh falling to Sana again. Snipehunters captain cannot quite close it out, and it is still CER2xFCG. It is still Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon, taking the lead in this series against Snipehunters. Can they make a comeback? Can they close it out in this final set of games, Lampy?
They will need the power of their captain, because there's no losses in out. It would need a swift and clean 3-0 by Team Snipehunters now for the final set, and we are going to find out how that is going to happen. We're going into the third match now.
And here we are in round 3. We have Quantal taking on Sana. We have Snipehunters trying to make sure that Hugin, the Runic Wings, is the face of Challenger Cup winter season versus CER2xFCG and Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon.
Indeed, and we see Quantal is the only one from Team Snipehunters bringing the Tenpai Dragon strategy himself.
Going first!
Sana has sent him first here, so that's immediately not the start that they need here, because as we saw now in 2 matches in a row, Tenpai is the deck that really wants to go second.
But opening up with the Sungen Summoning is so good, and the Sungen Kaiman and a Tenpai Dragon monster. So far, no disruption.
Yeah.
That being said, it is turn 1, by the way. So
there is Joel and Lockbird from
okay.
Sana, but that's usually not that bad. Like, we can do what the Tenpai Dragon deck wants to do going first, and that usually is just going for the good old Heretic Seals of the Heavenly Spheres anyways, and we already have that available to us. We can, though, now go also for the good old Pydra, and Pydra can then set ourselves the last copy of Sangen Kaiman to our side of the field, as this does not have to search, but can also set to the field.
Also of note is the fact that the Genroku is in the opening set of cards for Quantal, and therefore you don't have to worry about the draw running interference on the summon of that as well, because we always already have access to it. Speaking of already having access to something, though, Heretic Seal, as you mentioned, already going to hit the field for Quantal here, going to set a Sangen Kaiman as well. And while it's not the most formidable of fields, it is certainly still one to be afraid of.
It does depend. Does Sana have one of those lightning storms, one of those feather dusters, one of those heavy storms? He does have a lightning storm, and he immediately wants to go after all of those spell traps. I mean, he could have only activated one of those Sangen Kaimans anyways, but being forced now to immediately use it is, of course, not what Quantal was dreaming of.
I mean, being forced to go first, even with the Tenpai Dragon deck, is of course not something Quantal was dreaming of. But here we go. The Sangen Kaiman now looks to be resolving pretty soon. But actually, Sana, I think the onus is on him to decide whether or not this will be interacted with.
Yeah, it's not resolving just yet, so there is a chance for Sana to respond to that. There could, of course, always be the Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. There could already be a preemptive Max C, maybe as well. There is plenty of options that Sana could use here, and he's probably, again, just communicating with his teammates at the moment, trying to figure out to find the best solution together as a team to come out on top here, and it is resolving now. And Genroku number 2 is being added to the hand. And when Genroku is added to the hand, as Snake Eye Poplar, it can just special summon itself out to the field.
And while that Lightning Storm taking away both Sangen Kaiman was our focus there, important to note that it also got rid of the Sangen summoning. Actually, Infinite Impermanence now also going to come down here to negate the effect of the Hieratic Sphere. And suddenly, this is now a really precarious position for Quantal to be in.
It very, very much so is.
Modulates the level here, but does it do anything?
So the interesting thing with the matchup between two Tenpai Dragon decks is actually when you get into the battle phase and there is still Tenpai Dragon monsters on the field of the opponent. Here in Quantal's field, we can both play in the battle phase. So if we get to that situation, that might become a very, very interesting one, because then all of a sudden they both try to summon out the Transcendent Dragon in the battle phase, trying to prevent the opponent from activating monster effects. So if Quantal is able to keep those monsters around until the end phase, this could still be good enough. But for now, action on Sana, setting Sangen Summoning.
Sangen Summoning, of course, if it does successfully resolve, which presumably it will here, looking at what Quantal has available, it does mean that the Tenpai Dragon combo can start to roll out here. Sana gonna have access to the Synchros, a luxury that Quantal did not get when he was going first. Now, adding another Tenpai Dragon to his hand. This time it's the Chudra, discarding the Ash Blossom.
That's crazy to me, because that Ash Blossom and Joy Spring could be used on the Genroku, but also on the graveyard effect of the Hieratic Seals. So very interesting to see that he gives it up here. And maybe a tell that the last card in hand is just another copy of it. But we will have to find out. Now there is the first moment where DD Crow would make sense, and Quantal immediately takes the chance, using the DD Crow to prevent that Hydra to come back from the to the field.
Yeah, running Disruption on that, super, super valuable here, but will it be enough to stop what Sana is planning? We'll see. Sangenpai Biden Dragon not able to get the revive off, but where do we go from here? It's got multiple effects. There are multiple options available to Sana here. And again, if Quantal does lose this game, it's going to be CER2xFCG that do walk away with this. It's going to be Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon, on the cover of the Winter Challenger Cup.
Yep, every single game out of those 3 happening simultaneously here is a decider. Team Snipehunters needs to win all 3 of them if Hugin is the one that shall come out on top. Okay, we do head into the battle phase, and as I was just explaining, when we get to the battle phase with the Genroku on the field, that's already pretty good. There is Sangen Kaiman as the last card in hand for Sana, though. But yeah, as I was saying, the battle phase is the Tenpai phase. And when both players are on the Tenpai Dragon strategy, all of a sudden, Quantal now will also be playing very, very eagerly and quickly, because it's now, when those 2 decks clash, pretty much the task for both of them, try to bring out the Transcendent Dragon as quickly as possible, because that is, whatever turn it is, just preventing the opponent from using the monster effects in the battle phase.
Yeah, really, really want to run interference on your opponent here, but it is Sana still in the lead now. And with that further resolution from the Fadra does mean that the field is just going to continue to get scarier. It's going to become more precarious. Can Quantal mount a comeback here? We shall see.
So, oh yeah, I like this from Sana, because Sana will just summon out the Transcendent Dragon here with the Fadra, immediately saying we synchro summon out, and that is a very good moment to do that, because we are going to summon out that very important Transcendent Dragon the moment there only is one Tenpai Dragon monster on the side of Quantal, and therefore no way to synchro summon for him here in this turn, even though there is another monster coming. But from here on out, no effects able to activate anymore for Quantal. So
Sana here,
there's not even the need.
Position. Really, really, really good place to be in here. Quantal still looking through the deck, summoning now. We shall see what happens now. Being forced into attack position does mean that this is actually going to hurt pretty badly as well. And then just another Tenpai Dragon coming out onto the field.
Okay, we do attack. Oh, that was maybe an interesting decision there by Sana to attack onto the Chandra first, because as long as the Pydar was still on the field, that meant that there is not going to be any battle damage applying. Therefore, these first 2 attacks, did not do any damage, but I don't know whether that's even going to matter because that's still a lot of damage here coming the way of Quantal. Can Sana just close it out here right away for Team CER2xFCG?
Trident Dragon gonna destroy some cards, gonna get some more attacks. 3,700 life points for Quantal, but it's gonna be an amazing amount of damage coming down from Sana here. Not only do you get the double attack, but you get so many different attacks, but it's only one that matters in the end, and it's only CER2xFCG
and
that
look
walk
at the
away
other
triumphant.
games. Look at the other games. If we had Quantal winning here, they would have turned it around because Josh finally won his first game and also Amra won. So it's in the end a 5-4 record, but it is the Koreans coming out on top.
Going to that 9th game was such a great series of high-stakes gameplay there. Just really, really, really well played by both teams. Really happy to recreate that opening series from the World Championship, and really happy that we're now crowning Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon, as the featured monster for the Challenger Cup winter season. It will join Baron de Fleur from spring, Emperor Charles the Great from summer, and Unchained Soul, Lord of Yama, for autumn. It will be Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon, that will be the face of the Challenger Cup for the remainder of the winter season.
That is indeed the case. I love this, by the way. That's very, very cool. That should happen more often, that those teams that are in competition for the World Championship just play against each other more regular, like high stakes, very competitive showcase of how the best players in the game are thinking and thinking together as a team of 3 even. And then we get to showcase that here on the channel. I absolutely adored that.
It was really, really cool, honestly. And we're really grateful to have the opportunity to showcase the gameplay from these teams. Really, really grateful that they're taking part in this and also taking part in the Challenger Cup. You know, we mentioned that the selection of these teams was not only because they were the opening match of the World Championship. That was just really a happy bonus, on top of the fact that both Josh and RJ are such iconic members of the Challenger Cup content creator pool.
For sure.
Really grateful that they're hosting tournaments, that they're commentating on their channels. Also grateful that you're hosting and commentating on your channel.
Thank you.
And actually really grateful that Challenger Cup in general is giving players the opportunity to show off the best Master Duel gameplay across the world now.
Yeah, so you at home, of course, should also make sure to join the Challenger Cup competition yourself, and maybe then at some point you are going to be in one of those teams going to the World Championship, and then we're going to cast over your games. So definitely make sure to join, and then we're going to see you very, very soon for more content here on the channel. So thank you for watching. Bye. Bye.